Welcome to the story of David, one of the most powerful, raw, and human stories in the Bible. This is a tale of courage and failure, of loyalty and betrayal, of poetry and power. A boy with a sling would one day wear a crown. A shepherd in obscurity would be remembered for eternity. David's story is not just ancient history. His life echoes into our own. His words fill the Psalms. His choices shape the nation. His heart, flawed and faithful, reflects both the weakness of man and the grace of God. But before he was a king, before he was a warrior, David was just a boy, the youngest of 8 sons, overlooked, forgotten, alone in the hills of Bethlehem, surrounded by sheep, wind, and silence. There, in the stillness, God was shaping a heart, not a mighty general, not a politician, but a worshiper, a protector, a servant. At this point in history, Israel is in chaos. The people have demanded a king, and God has given them one. Saul, strong, impressive, but insecure and unstable. His heart is far from God, and the kingdom reflects it. The Philistines, a fierce enemy, threaten from the west. War is constant. Morale is low. The people need a leader, a champion, a man after God's own heart. And in the hills, a boy is writing songs to a God no one sees. While men look at appearances, God is watching the heart. In this video, we'll walk through the incredible journey of David, his victories, his failures, his worship, his legacy. So sit back, open your heart. Let's explore the story of the shepherd who became a king, David, the servant of the Lord. Not far from the town of Bethlehem, hills roll quietly beneath the sun. Here, in the shadows of olive trees and craggy rocks, walks a young boy, alone but never lonely. His name is David, the youngest of 8 sons of Jesse. David wasn't a soldier nor a scholar. His job was simple, to care for sheep. Day after day, he led them through pastures and streams, guarding them from danger. But while the world ignored David, God watched him. With no crowds and no applause, David sang to the Lord. With harp in hand and faith in heart, he wrote songs that would echo for centuries, songs we now know as psalms. He sang of green pastures and still waters. He sang of fear and trust, of enemies and rescue. He sang not as a performer, but as a friend of God. When lions came to steal his sheep, he didn't run. When bears roared through the brush, he stood his ground. With his bare hands, David fought for what was entrusted to him. And with every battle, unseen by men, his courage grew. David was not just learning to fight. He was learning to trust. He was not just tending sheep. He was learning to lead. No one would have picked David as king. Not his father. Not his brothers. Not even the prophet Samuel at first. But when Samuel came to Jesse's house to anoint the next king of Israel, God told him something that would define the whole story. Man looks at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart. 1 Samuel 16, verse 7. And when David, sunburnt, dusty, and probably smelling like sheep, walked in from the fields, God whispered to Samuel, "That's the one." Samuel poured oil over David's head, anointing him the future king of Israel. A quiet boy with a quiet life, suddenly marked by divine destiny. But David didn't run to the palace. He went back to the fields, back to the sheep, back to solitude and song. His time would come, but first he would wait, in silence, in service, with harp in hand, and the Spirit of the Lord resting upon him. The crown was coming, but before David ruled over men, he learned to bow before God. The boy in the field was no ordinary shepherd. He was the one who would one day write, "The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want." As we reflect on the opening chapters of David's journey, we're reminded that greatness doesn't begin on a throne, but often in the quiet, hidden places. Please comment your idea, like and subscribe. We continue part 2 of David's story next time.